Good evening, everyone. This is Tuesday, March 8th, the Equity and Student Achievement Committee of the Whole meeting. Tonight, we're going to just jump right into the meeting agenda, just trying to make sure I bring this up. And I'd like to motion to call the meeting to order. Thank you.
Yes, so moved.
I don't think I didn't even need the motion, did I? Okay. All right. So I'm looking through the agenda. I don't believe we have any speakers or comments for this evening. Is that correct? Okay. Thank you. Moving into our standing items, I'd like to entertain a motion to review and accept the minutes from the February 8th ESA Committee of the Whole meeting.
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any opposing? Any discussion points? If no discussions, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposing? Thank you.
And voting is now open.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Did you hear Commissioner Powell? Okay, thank you. Okay, we're going to move into our resolutions for consideration, starting with Resolution 467. I'd like to entertain a motion for Resolution 467.
So moved. Need a second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Did you get that, Charisma?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Open for discussion at this time. If there's no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposing?
We're still waiting on 3 more commissioners. You're all set.
Okay, thank you so much. And what resolution did I leave off on, Charisma?
You're at 468.
468, entertain a motion for Resolution 468.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? If no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposing? Okay, it looks like Resolution 468 has passed. So I do have a request before we move forward with the remaining resolutions. I have a request to, actually, we have a spotlight here. So let me kind of adjust the agenda for a moment and pause the resolutions. So we'll hold off on 469 where we are. And I'm going to just use that liberty to be a little creative this evening, because we know the evenings can get pretty late around here. We want to, at this time, recognize and ask Principal Uma Mehta of Rochester Early College International High School to come on up, and we'd like to highlight you this evening here at the board.
I think it's a take one, pass it on situation.
looks like everyone has the materials in hand. Principal Mehta, thank you for your patience, and thank you for your ability and willingness to come and present this evening. We're excited to hear what you have to share about Rochester Early College.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Rochester City School District Board of Education Commissioners, President Elliott, Vice President LeBron, Superintendent Myers-Small, Dr. Jallo, Rochester City School District staff, and esteemed guests. I am Uma Mehta, proud principal of Rochester Early College International High School. Thank you so much for giving us an opportunity to share a little bit about our school today. With me is Mr. Holland. He is our nationally board certified special education teacher and intervention specialist. We have Noemi Lopez, Rithiratnik Meese, and we have Steve Simmons with us today. Thank you again for the opportunity. If it's okay with you, we would like to share a few PowerPoint slides just to talk a little bit about our school. So we are Rochester Early College International High School. We are a small learning community. We serve scholars from grade 9 through 12, and I am proud to share that we have been a school in good standing for the last few years. Our scholars, we serve about 16% scholars with individualized educational plans, and about 17% of our scholars are English language learners. About 9 out of 10 scholars are classified as low income. In terms of our gender breakdown, our female population is slightly higher than our male population. And for racial and ethnic breakdown, 60% of our scholars are African American, about 24 Hispanic, 7% white, and our Asian and other ethnic background scholars will make about 9% of our population. We are Rochester Early College International High School. We serve scholars from more than 20 countries, and our scholars speak 15 different languages. We take pride in our diversity, and we are a proud international high school. We are currently located at 200 Genesee Street. So just to give you guys a little bit of historical background of our school was established back in 2010 by our founding principal, Ms. Blocker. We celebrated our 10th school anniversary last year, and she was our keynote speaker. Ms. Blocker has been a tremendous help, even after she has transitioned out of early college in 2015. After she transitioned out, we have Ms. Jordan, who led our school for 1 year. And in 2016 and 17, that's when I joined early college team. At that time, our graduation rate was 70%. And we, as an early college team, felt that due to these leadership transitions, it was important for us to come together, listen and learn from each other, and just assess our school culture. What are some of the things that we need to reinforce? What are some of the things we need to transform? So we collectively spent a lot of time in 2016 and 17 to shape our vision together. The following year, in 2017 and 18, our scholars from grade 11 and 12, they moved to MCC downtown campus, which was part of our school's original vision to be at or near college campus. And our scholars in grade 9 and 10 remained at Genesee campus. So our school operated on 2 campuses, MCC campus and Genesee campus, for 2 years, 2017, 18, and 18 and 19. In 2019 and 20, our scholars from MCC returned back to Genesee campus because of financial reasons. And we have been at that school at 200 Genesee since then. You can imagine it has been quite a journey, right? Quite an interesting journey. And our staff and our scholars have been resilient to persevere through all these transitions. I just want to mention one thing, that we are proud of our team. They never lost sight of our vision and mission, during these times. And our vision and mission is to help our scholars graduate as globally competent and college and career ready. At Early College, we are a family. We celebrate each other. What we do at Early College is grounded around these 4 keys to success. We genuinely care for each other. We respect and we take responsibility for what we do and what we say. We provide a nurturing and inclusive environment for ourselves, for our staff, and for our scholars. So everyone feels that they're being heard, everyone feels they're supported, whether it's an academic need or social emotional needs. In 2016 and 17, we started Star Room, which is called Stop, Think, and Reflect, in collaboration with Center for Youth, to be able to help our scholars to provide social emotional needs. So there is a strong sense of belonging and collegiality at Early College. So that's a little bit in a summary who we are and how we cherish each other as a family. Our school at Rochester Early College International High School provides an excellent opportunity for our scholars. They get a head start on their post-secondary education while they're still in high school. Our semester scheduling at Early College will allow them to earn up to 10 credits in 1 year. We foster a college-going culture. Our scholars start taking dual credit courses at grade 9 and 10. They participate in MCC pathway presentations. We provide group and individualized counseling and advisement sessions for our scholars. At grade 11 and 12, they have an opportunity to go to MCC, take college classes, and be able to earn college credits free of cost. So they're not only saving time, but also saving money. So this is the beauty of our school. This is an excellent opportunity where our scholars, where our school is providing that academic preparation, financial assistance, and college exposure that is necessary for college success. We inspire the best in all of our scholars. And we know that our program is pretty rigorous and accelerated. So our high expectations comes with high sport. Our school provides embedded supports for our scholars, like extended day program, after school, February recess. We provide mentoring for our scholars. And mentoring is not only for academic support, but also for social emotional help and need that our scholars may be in need of. We foster a data-driven culture, and that personal approach and attention to individual scholars has helped us move the needle. So in our school, we provide 2-week progress reports to our scholars, and if they are not demonstrating adequate academic progress, our scholars get a scholar academic plan during 5-week of cycle. Our faculty at Early College, they put their heart and soul in helping our scholars get to the finish line. It is a testament of their hard work and dedication that has helped us increase our graduation rate from 70% to 92.6%. Thank you. Appreciate that. We have been able to maintain our graduation above 90% for last 3 years. And as we all say, it takes a village to raise a child, right? We can also fairly say that it takes a village to raise any high school's graduation rate too. So we are thankful to all of our stakeholders, early college faculty, early college teachers, families, Rochester City School District staff, our community partners, our board members, everyone who has touched the lives of our scholars directly or indirectly. We appreciate everyone's help and support. We as a team never lose sight of our why. Why we do what we do. And our why is our scholars. We empower our scholars through voice, choice, and actions. Early college teachers and early college staff go above and beyond to help our scholars realize their dreams. Every scholar has a story. If I could take a minute just to highlight a few of them. On the screen, the female scholar that you're seeing is Takita Thomas. She is cohort 2019 scholar. With the help of her Mandarin teacher, Ms. Zhou, at early college, she earned a lifetime opportunity to study abroad with all of her expenses paid. So currently she is in Taiwan and scheduled to return in June 2022. We are proud of Takita and for her leadership and her self-advocacy. We have Rithirathnak Rees. He is cohort 2018. He is standing right next to me. He is scheduled to graduate in June 2022. Do you feel comfortable, Justin? You want to share your journey?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rith Ratsanak, and I am a senior at Early College. So a little background about myself. I'm a second-generation American with a Cambodian background who's had the goal of graduating from college since childhood. However, the idea of being in debt for a large portion of my life made me second think whether or not college was for me. When I found out about Early College and its program that would not only give me the college experience, but save me almost 2 years worth of time and expenses, I knew it was the perfect high school for me. A typical day at Early College starts on the 3rd floor of Wilson Foundation, a long hallway where all of our high school classes reside. Us seniors and juniors only have to take a few high school classes in the morning, and then we take a shuttle MCC to take classes over there. In between classes, during our breaks, we can study, relax, or go to any of their facilities like a library, student health services, or clubs, and basically any other MCC facility regular MCC students would have. Early College really has helped me prepare for my future. Things such as time management, organization, and work ethic was basically refined into me by taking those MCC classes and faster-paced high school classes. I'll be graduating this year with a high school diploma and 57 college credits, which will ultimately help me with my goal of graduating from college and becoming a software engineer.
Thank you, Justin. Appreciate that. We also have Steve Simmons. He graduated from Early College last year, and he is currently a scholar at Rochester Institute of Technology. Steve, would you like to say a few words?
Hi, everybody. This is my second time coming up here. Thanks for having me again. How you doing, Mr. Adams? It's good to see you again, sir. So my freshman year was back in 2017, and when I heard about the ability to go on campus and to take high school classes at downtown MCC, it was definitely a motivator for me. My 10th grade year, I was one of, eight 10th graders who got to go a year early. I was 14 years old taking my first MCC class. It was nerve-wracking. It was definitely a harrowing experience, but because of that foundation that I had my first freshman year, I was able to get through it. I passed my first ever college English class, made some friends, and I found out one of my classmates from that class was a manager at the job I've got now. So I've been able to foster connections because of these opportunities that I've been given. 11th grade year, I started a club, and with the help of a lot of the faculty there, I was able to facilitate a lot of stuff and get a lot of things done. I was president of 2-3 clubs throughout my entire life there. I got to take care of some yearbook stuff, help out with outdoor club, and our esports club is still thriving to this day, and I'm very proud of the community that we've been able to foster from it. Early college is a unique opportunity. It gives kids a chance to not only find themselves and learn who they want to be, but they meet other people who they probably wouldn't have if gone to any other school. A lot of kids get cast by the wayside for being kind of shy, sheepish, or worrisome. They've built communities around each other. They find people like me who are not so shy, and they come together. They discover what it is about themselves that makes them want to go further. And our teachers are really great at pushing that out of them. We have some very outgoing, extroverted teachers. We have some teachers who are very calm, collected, and cool. There's a variety of people who work at our school, but they all have the same goal, and that's to bring the best out of our kids. Because we're not just students there, we're a family. And that's why I'm here today. Despite the fact that I graduated, I stop by every once in a while, check up on my little sister, even my little cousin. Well, it's not my cousin, but his mom lives next door to my great-grandmother, so we grew up together. I care a lot about the students at that school, a lot about the people at that school, and I've got so many great memories. So I just love it so much, and that's why I'm here today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Steve. And Noemi would like to share a few words too.
Hi, I'm Noemi Lopez. I'm not going to say so much as my counterparts because I am on the shyer side, but you know, other than early college being so good at just giving us that experience early of going to college and everything, and it gives us that confidence that we'll be okay when we actually graduate and go to college, it also, like, it's so motivational that you get to look beyond just MCC. I had the confidence to actually apply to Ivy Leagues because of early college. And I think that that's really important because it's not just MCC, it's just giving you that, like, that hope and that motivation to actually pursue, you know, Ivy Leagues. But that's just kind of what I wanted to say, because early college has given me that motivation, it's giving me that confidence, and overall, I wouldn't have picked any other high school.
Thank you, Noemi. Mr. Holland, would you like to say a few words?
Just real briefly, thank you again, everyone, for letting us come here and have an opportunity to celebrate our peers and our success at the school. These three are shining examples. There's many more like them at our school, and it's just a reminder that when we raise expectations for scholars in the city, they can excel. There's hundreds and thousands of them just like this. So thank you to these guys for coming up here and being brave and having the courage to share with you guys. We're very proud of them. We as Steve said, you know, we have a family environment at our school, and we follow up with these guys once they graduate. They follow up with us. They call us all the time, actually. So I just want to celebrate these guys. I want to thank you for giving us this opportunity, and congratulations to you guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much again for the opportunity. So the work continues. We continue to learn from other national early college models to see how we can lift these best practices and elevate college and career readiness. How can we engage all of our stakeholders and take this to the next level and expand these wonderful opportunities for many more scholars in the city of Rochester. Thank you again for this opportunity. Appreciate all of your help and support.
Yes, thank you so very much, Principal Mehta and team, for joining us, and I'm just excited that we were able to highlight you this evening. And for this very purpose is why I felt that it was appropriate to highlight you. I'm talking, you said 17% in 2017, and to this 2021, we're looking at 92.8%. So the graduation rates, listening to these young scholars and their readiness to persist, because those are questions that we often have. And what you have been able to do is just phenomenal here in the City School District. So I'm so happy that you all joined us to highlight the phenomenal work that's happening. And I think you said something very important, because imagine if the resources continue to pull in what you can do even more of. And so I'm excited about this pending direction for you. I do want to open up the dais to my fellow commissioners if there are any remarks that would like to be made at this time.
Thank you,
Elliott, or
Commissioner
do you-
Simmons.
Start with
Commissioner Paul?
Commissioner Powell.
Thank you.
Only to say that with my daughter being a graduate of early college, in one of the early classes, I have a fondness for you, whether you're highly successful or modestly successful. I still have a fondness. It won't make any difference to me. I love all my children the same.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Oh, what can I say that I've not already said in the past about you and about early college? So, thank you so much for all that you do and being such a bright spotlight for the Rochester City School District. There are pockets in our community. We hear mostly about the negative things that go on, and that seems to make the news. But a school like Early College that has, what do you have? What graduation rate do you have?
92.6.
A 92% graduation rate. I wanted to say that again so that they get it. We got a 92% graduation rate at Early College High School, and that's not being celebrated the way in which violence is celebrated in the media. And so thank you so very much. In spite of that, we're going to continue doing what we need to do in order to get these babies graduated.
Absolutely.
So thank you so very much.
Absolutely.
It is
It's
so
been-
appreciated.
Thank you, appreciate it. It's been an honor and privilege to have this opportunity to come here. Thank you for the invitation.
Vice President LeBron?
Yeah, a couple of remarks. So first and foremost, I have to share my own journey to MCC, which is where I started my passion for education and college and beyond. So I started at MCC. I was able to graduate, transfer to Fisher, went to Fisher, I've gone to Georgetown. Now I'm in law school. And for me, all of that would not have been possible without MCC. And so I know that they are a phenomenal partner and a resource in this community. But the fact that we have Early College to guide students, right, and introduce them to this notion of college not being so scary, not knowing. Because when I moved up here, I didn't have anybody to help guide me with filling out a FAFSA application, and I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know what AccuPlacer meant, what advisement meant for college, right? And then when even going to Fisher, not realizing that you have to be even a little bit more independent and understanding and navigating how your schedule is. Now I know how to put together my own schedule and figure out my own courses, but I just love this notion, and so there's a couple of remarks I want to make around that too. So I wish all of you, the most success for every student that's coming out of Early College, that you continue to grow and go and recruit others into the passion and love for education as well. So 92.6%, you are our second highest graduation rate in the entire district, including East. So I just, again, need to applaud that. And what I would love us to do is, as we're clapping, that as we're going through budget season, that we look for additional resources for Early College. We're always having conversations about expanding models, but we have a model that here is successful and it works, and we need to put the financial resources. I would love to applaud you all day, but as a board and a body, I would like to challenge this board, this body, this administration to make sure that in the budget, there are more resources for your school to grow, for your students, and for the needs that exist at Early College. In addition, I would love to see you have your own building and off of the 3rd floor at Wilson. And Wilson's a great school too, so nothing against them, we love you too. But the fact that it's almost insulting for me, and I'm speaking for myself here, that we have a program that has a 92.6% graduation rate, highly successful, and that we have them on one floor in a shared space with another school. And we should be insulted by that, honestly, truly. And so my challenge to the administration and to this board is that we put resources behind this, behind the applause, and that we find them a building. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate that.
So I think do we have any other comments? I think we have Commissioner Adams and then Malloy, and then I'll close out.
So what I took out of everything you presented today was the fact that the atmosphere at your school is a family atmosphere, and that's always been a successful model throughout history. That's what's needed in other schools. And so I just want to take off my hat to you. And I don't take this off that often. So it's a high honor. You know what I'm saying? All right.
Thank you,
And
Commissioner Adams.
just to highlight other things, or just to piggyback on what my colleagues have already said, kudos to you. Profound respect for the program, that you run and all of the work that your staff, that they do on a daily basis. I visited your program this summer. I was so impressed, and I'll be back soon. Kudos to all of you. And students, fantastic job. Keep it up, and best wishes to all of you.
Thank you, Commissioner Malloy.
Awesome. So we can talk all night and give you kudos all night. We love early college. I'm excited again that you came. And last thing I want to just say is spending time on campus with you, Principal Mehta, and seeing the magic when you talked about your why. I saw that in that moment. I saw that day as I walked around with you, as we looked at the school logistics, as we looked at what you needed and talked about where you came from. I saw your why, I felt your why, and I see it in the students and the outcomes that you're producing. So I will not belabor this conversation anymore, but you will see some more of us again, and I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate that. Again, it's been our honor and privilege. It means a lot that we were given this opportunity to come out and say a few words about our school, and you recognize the success that the team has been doing. Our Lee College team is truly a family, and those staff members go above and beyond, above and beyond. And our children are the ones that are waking up every single day. They are our whys, and they are the ones who are making us proud. So thank you again. Appreciate that.
Okay, thank you. That was wonderful. So what I'm going to do is, and I want to recognize Vice President LeBron. Thank you so much for kind of just pointing that out, the flexibility that we have within the agenda as we're moving. So it's just brought to my attention. We have students here, educators here that spend long days in the school. We all spend long days, but that's a lot of work that's going on in these school buildings. And so to move them to the front of the agenda a bit so that they have the ability to present and then also get home and get some rest and schoolwork done makes a lot of sense. So thank you for that suggestion. And so we're going to, at this point, pivot back into finishing out our resolutions and moving forward with the agenda, if we will. So at this time, and you guys pull me back in if you have to, I'm looking at, I believe, Resolution 469. I'd like to entertain a motion for Resolution 469.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion items? Okay, if no discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposing? 469 passes. Entertaining a motion for Resolution 470.
So moved.
Open for discussion? If no discussion, all those in favor of Resolution 470, say aye.
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 Any opposing? I'm just waiting for the voting box. There we go. Moving into Resolution 471, I'd like to entertain a motion for Resolution 471.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? If no discussion, all those in favor of Resolution 471, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposing? I'd like to entertain a motion for Resolution 472.
Sorry, Commissioner Simmons, give me 1 second.
Okay.
I'm still waiting for one more.
Okay, let me know when you got it.
You're all set.
Thank you. I'd like to entertain a motion for Resolution 472.
So moved.
May I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Adams. Resolution 472, any discussion points?
Yes, Madam Chairwoman. I just wanted to put on record, here's where when we look at persons who are in secretarial positions who can make the kind of money that we see offered to clerical staff and secretaries, but we can't offer that kind of money to our paraprofessionals, nor can we offer that kind of money to our security staff and our custodial staff, and that's a concern for me. And so I'm going to vote no on this because of that. This is something that I have been standing on for years, that we've got to make sure that we provide kind of equality or equity in these positions, and we don't seem to do that. And so my vote is no on this. We've got to get our security staff up in salaries, wages, our frontline, meaning our paraprofessionals, and just all of those that are on the front line. They tend to do more in terms of putting their physicality on the line, putting everything on the line. And I'm not saying that clerical staff, that their role is not as not important, but it cannot be, it's not as important in my view as those who are putting their lives on the line and in direct contact with our students and families. And so based on that, my vote is no on this. Thank you, Madam
Thank you, President.
Chairwoman.
Vice President LeBron?
Yeah, a couple of things, but I do gotta say, President Elliott, they are frontline. They're sometimes the first people that you interact with, or families do when they come in.
That's
But we do also make them, but we,
of what it means to be on the front line. I'm talking about those who are on the front line.
they do interact with our students
Yeah.
too, but I just have to also say though, like, if we look at what their job description is versus what they end up having to do, there's a disconnect there. I just want to put that out there because we often, it looks like a job, responsibilities and duties, but other duties as assigned, they get dumped with a bunch of responsibilities that they shouldn't be doing. But I would love to have this conversation in the human resources, and we will, but they are doing work outside of their job scope. But I do want to ask about the community liaison specialist position out of the Office of Parent Engagement, and what the update is on hiring a director, because right now it looks like we're going to hire a community liaison person, and who is the director of the Office of Parent Engagement at this time?
I can answer that. I've been in communication with Dr. Black, and interviews are occurring this week, and then I know in the next 2 weeks, I believe they'll be able to bring a final candidate forward for the director position.
So you're going to hire someone that's going to be supervised, but they don't know yet who their supervisor is going to be, essentially, right? Because that's the community.
That is correct, but in the interim, and you'll hear from Kelly in just a bit, she is supervising the department while we're waiting for a director.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Any other points of discussion for Resolution 472? Okay, if no other points of discussion, all those in favor of Resolution 472, you can take your vote now. You can say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed?
No.
Okay, and that looks like the voting box is open. Moving forward, I'd like to entertain a motion for Resolution 473.
So moved?
May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, President Elliott. Any points of discussion for Resolution 473?
Madam Chairman, on this one, I just need to ask our clerk, I didn't get a pop-up window,
Neither
vote
did I.
thoroughly did I vote thoroughly on the previous resolution? Please.
Are you referring to the 473 or the one prior?
472.
472, Commissioner Powell saying she did not get a pop-up window.
For 472, it had showed that you voted. The only commissioner who didn't vote yes was President Elliott had voted no.
I voted no, yeah.
All right, I must have voted, not remembered even seeing the pop-up window. That's fine.
No problem. I would say the 14473 should be popped up right now on your screen.
Yes, we do.
It's not on my screen yet.
And we're still open for discussion around 473 before we move forward with the vote. And I see Vice President LeBron's hand.
Yeah, and also, like, when the pop-up window comes, we actually can't move the resolution, just so you know. So if you do it too soon before we ask questions, then we can't go in there unless I exit out, and then you have to re-pop it up. Because I do have a question on this particular resolution, but I cannot get to it. So I'm going to close the window, and then I'm going to have it repopulated. So this is not even the resolution, because I'm looking for the resolution that had the assistant principals, and that is in another resolution, but thank you.
Superintendent Myers-Small, I see your mic. Did you have any?
I'm sorry,
Okay,
no.
that's okay. Okay, President Elliott? Did you
No,
have any
no
comments?
questions.
Okay. Okay, we're all set here. So for Resolution 473, appears the discussion has taken place. All those in favor of 473, Resolution 473?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposing? Okay. We'll cast our vote. Looks like 473 has passed.
Still not getting the pop-up.
Okay. Motion to entertain Resolution 474.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Open for discussion, 474. Okay. And it looks like this is the one Vice President LeBron is looking to discuss.
Yes, I just had a question because there are some assistant principal openings in here. And we did receive an email from someone who was doing the Bank Street Leadership Pipeline Program. And I have gone to schools and talked to different administrators who have applied for assistant principal positions. And I know we have openings even before today. And I'm just wondering if we can actually get an update. I do think it is a critical thing for us to be keeping our eye on is what's happening in human capital and being able to recruit and process individuals and interview and potentially place. So with new principals leaving and already having principals, are we tapping into those teachers who went through the pipeline through the Bank Street program?
Thank you, Vice President. The candidate that emailed us applied last week. We have a process that we're implementing where all applications should be responded to within 48 hours. And for assistant principals, that's not in motion. It's in motion effective today, actually. But all other positions, it has been. I'm personally responding to all principals, and then one of the members of our team are responding to assistant principals. So we're trying to provide them direct attention. When we post positions such as principal or assistant principal, we post them as open positions for the 2022-2023 school year, because we really don't know where we will have vacancies until and if people retire. But of course, we have some movements as well. And so this week, we started the process of setting up interviews with principals, and we're in the process of setting up interviews with assistant principals. What we'll be doing is we have a district-based committee that meets and will meet with candidates as well for principal and assistant principals, so that when we have bona fide vacancies in either of those leadership positions, we have a pool that we've screened and that we can then find for best fit or match, so that when vacancies open, we can bring candidates to school-based committees so that stakeholders can interview and connect with them. It's something we have done, or we did this last year with principals. We're beefing up and ensuring that we're doing that with assistant principals. The school chiefs and I met yesterday, I think, actually, to finalize the process for that, to ensure that we are moving forward in that. We have about 60 applicants in the queue for assistant principal in various stages. And so we'll be doing some group interviews, we'll be doing some individual interviews, and we'll be working through that process. We had a deadline, and so that's why you see some retirements, or you see a lot of retirements on this resolution, of March 1st. And so that gives us a better, clearer picture of where we would be. We did appoint a number of folks as acting earlier this year because we weren't sure the status of whether or not we would have school closures. We haven't really had many vacancies, so we are going to work through that, and all of those 60 applicants should be sent some information on the timeline and the process so that they're really well clear about that. But we are starting principal interviews as early as next week.
Yeah. But she asked, oh, I'm sorry, I was just about Bank Street. You want to know what's the status of that, and how are we interviewing and potentially placing those candidates? I thought that's what I heard.
Yeah, and so I just want to say too, because the Bank Street candidate that reached out to the board actually submitted something that she applied months ago, and had only gotten one correspondence back. But I've heard that from other folks in the community, just trying to figure it out. But I do want to separate folks that are not part of Bank Street, and I want to highlight Bank Street specifically because those were teachers that were identified, allowed to go through this program, earn a second master's. We did get a grant, but the district also invested money and time and energy to say this is our internal diversity, equity, inclusion pipeline for leadership positions, if you will. And so I would hate that we spent all that money, time, and energy, and that candidates went through this program and we're not pulling from that internal source. But then again, the concern around the process from external candidates or candidates that did not go through Bank Street is that as they're applying, they're not hearing back, they don't know. And so I think you're referring to a different email when you said, because that was a different person, but you know, and you mentioned a few weeks ago here that there were a number of administrative positions, and that kind of perked up my ear, because again, you know, it's frustrating when you have people who are qualified and at least can get an interview and have some understanding of the process versus they're not hearing anything at all. And then we're potentially in a highly competitive market, and I'm going to keep using that specific term because that is the state that we are in as a district. We are highly competitive with other highly competitive school districts vying for the same folks who have this, you know, the background and the education and the certification. So we need to make sure that we are just as competitive as other districts. And one of the things that we can do is at least follow up with folks. I'm glad to hear that there's going to be a 48-hour something rule. You'll hear something, whether it's an email saying, thank you, we've received your application, and here's the process so that they know what to expect. And then keep us in mind versus like, I've never heard anything from the district, I'm going to go apply to the other district and I'm out. Because we need to retain good people too. So yeah, my question still stands with the Bank Street. I would like us to understand how we have recruited and advanced our teachers that went through that pipeline program that we created internally to address this very issue. Thank you.
President Elliott, did you have any questions? Oh, I'm going based on the mics that I see on. When I see it lit up, I'm like, we're ready to talk. Okay, Commissioner Adams, I do know you have a question.
Actually, I don't even have a question. I just have a comment here. What stands out on to me on this thing is all these special education teachers retiring. And I'm hoping that we are full speed trying to do some recruiting in that area. Because I believe, it's my belief that we're already short in that area. And now I see 6 of them on here. So that's just my comment. There's no question.
I think that's a great comment, and that actually takes me to a question. Do we have like a matrix of such that would show us these positions and where they are and being filled that's kind of color-coded, or something that says, hey, these are the special education positions, these are vacant, this is where we are in the hiring? I feel like I saw some information around that. Can you point me back in that direction?
We could provide additional data, yes. I don't think we have to the board previously, other than maybe what was presented a few weeks ago.
Okay.
But we could certainly provide some additional data akin to what you're asking for.
Okay, I'll follow up in board docs and just kind of ask and be more specific in my language as to what I'm hoping we can pinpoint. Are there any other points of discussion for Resolution 474 at this time?
Just after you vote, I have a comment.
Okay, sure.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to take our vote for Resolution 474. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposing? I don't see are we waiting for the box? Oh, mine isn't up yet. There we go. Sorry about that, Charisma. Thank you. Okay, before we move into Resolution 475, I'd like to give the mic to Superintendent.
Thank you. Just as you know, you've just voted on resignations for retirement purposes. And so just wanted to acknowledge the staff who are listed and thank them for their service to the district. Certainly are very much so appreciated. Some are retiring soon, and then there are many that are retiring at the end of the school year. but this does reflect a significant amount of history and expertise and knowledge, and just wanted to publicly acknowledge that. And there are a few individuals here that I started in the district with, or were here a little bit before I came, and just wanted to uplift and thank them for their service in general. Thank you, Commissioner Simmons.
Thank you. We're going to move forward into Resolution 475. I'd like to entertain a motion for Resolution 475.
So moved.
Second.
Any points of discussion for Resolution 475? If no points of discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposing? Resolution 475 passes. Thank you. Moving on to Resolution 476. I'd like to entertain a motion for resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Malloy and Commissioner Adams. Any points of discussion around 476? If no points of discussion, all those in favor for Resolution 476, say aye.
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 Any opposing? Resolution 476 passes.
Still waiting on a few.
Still waiting on a few? Thank you.
All set.
Thank you so much. Okay, we do have a final resolution around student appeals, and we're going to hold that for a moment because that's going to take us into executive session. We know we have a viewing audience, and we also have another presentation. So we had a few tonight, one of them being, of course, Rochester Early College, who provided us with some awesome information. We had some updates around teaching and learning scheduled for this evening. However, that's going to be postponed, and we should hear those updates around teaching and learning in our next business meeting. So with that, we're going to move forward with our next presentation from Kelly Briggs, the Executive Director of Strategic Partnerships for the district, and she's going to talk more about those strategic partnerships, and we'll allow her to come up now. Thank you.
As Ms. Briggs heads to the front, during the February ESSA board meeting, Dr. Black shared that the Department of Teaching and Learning now includes multiple departments that directly support the total student experience. As a result, the administration feels that it's very important to provide opportunities to share what each department is responsible for and aims to do in service of our students. This evening, we'll hear from Kelly Briggs, who serves as the Executive Director of Community and Strategic Partnerships. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you. Good evening.
Hey.
Thank you so much for having me here. So I'm here to talk about strategic and community partnerships, something that I absolutely love. So just want you to look at that picture that I have on the front of the PowerPoint. I chose this picture because in our department, which consists of the Office of Parent Engagement, Youth Development, Community Schools, and what I like to say, Volunteer Coordination Services. What we do in our department is we lock arms. We lock arms for our students, we lock arms for our families, and we lock arms for our schools. We still have a lot of work to do, but we have been really working on connecting together as a department, again, locking arms to serve our students, locking arms to serve our families and our schools through our connections to the community and with everything we need to do to provide the best resources for our children. And I just have to say, I was teary-eyed over there because when I think about the work that we do with Rat Tanakmi, as was my student, I had the honor of being his teacher for 2 years, and he was a dynamite student. And so to see that child going on doing what he's doing, it's just been so emotional for me. All right. So I want to start out talking about strategic and community partnerships. And this is something that I always have to correct everybody because they'll say strategic partnerships are just community partnerships, but it's strategic and community. And I always emphasize that because they go together. Because I truly believe when we are trying to work for our children, we have to include the community in that work. We know our students are important, but we want to include the community. And the community is our students, the family, and where they live. And so in our department, the thing that we are focusing on right now is a partnership inventory document. I had the honor of being the director of community schools for 2.5 years, and we use this document in community schools just to look at all of the partnerships. But now, being the executive director of the department and looking at how we can pull some of the community schools principles into all of our practices in all of our departments, we want to use this document for all of our schools. We have a lot of schools talking to us and asking us about partnerships, how do we get them? And we know that in our department, we work on the multiple partnerships, but schools still come to us to ask us questions about partnerships in particular. So we do know that that is an area where we will be providing this summer and probably in the spring professional learning on for our schools. But we want to use this particular document, the partnership inventory, and I know that I sent that to you all, and I can send you a bigger version of it. But this document will help us to identify how partners fit or match to help to meet the needs of our students and their families. It will also help us to identify and recruit new partners. A lot of schools have questions about how do I recruit partners? So this document, looking at what they have or the lack of it, will help us to see how we can help them fill in the gaps, because again, we lock arms to help our schools. We'll also connect with partners and include them on our strategic task forces, initiatives, committees, and a monthly strategic and community partnerships department meeting with partners. So for example, I have the pleasure of being part of the Build Strong Community Task Force. Anytime we meet with a new partner, we ask them to join that task force. They have assets, they have resources that they can use that will help us. And so we really want to encourage others to start tapping into those resources that our partners bring to the table that can help our district. And use their expertise. Learn and connect with other supports for students and families. Partners are connected to other partners. A lot of them we don't even know about, but when we meet with them, they tell us how to connect with others. A lot of our partners sit on boards. For example, we work a lot with Chuck Allen from the county. Chuck sits on all types of medical boards. We know there's a lot of emphasis on mental health. He's connected to a lot of different organizations. So we like to tap into partners like Chuck and other partners to help connect us with other resources. And parents are going to also be included in this. We've been meeting a lot with our parents, and one of the main things the parents tell us, and you know parents, they will tell you, okay, and they won't hold back. They want to be included in what we are doing. They want to be at the table learning about our systems and practices. So what we want to start doing, and we know our district is doing that as well too, but when we're looking at our department, partnership department, we have family engagement in this department, parent engagement. We want to start bringing that in, modeling parents. We're going to have a partnership meeting. We want to have you there. And we don't want to use the same parents. And that's why we rely on our parent liaisons and homeschool assistants to help us with their contacts to bring in different parents. And just to give you an example, one of the things that we're doing in the department, we're working on a financial literacy month plan. We know that April is financial literacy month, and we know that all of us, and I'm going to put myself first, can use some help with finances. Well, we want to connect with different partners to help provide workshops for our parents and for our students. So right now, we're working with Junior Achievement and M&T Bank and Ryan Keating from the Social Studies Department. Because not only do we partner externally, but we want to start pulling in partners in the district, different departments, asking them to come in and work alongside with us as we develop these relationships. So we're working together to provide some financial literacy courses for our students. And the good thing about the fact that I was a teacher, I am telling them, you know, when we're dealing with students, we got to have something that's going to be interesting. So entrepreneurship, cybersecurity, all those kind of things are interesting to our students. But we know when it comes to financial literacy, our kids want to learn about owning their own business. So those are one of the courses that we plan on teaching during that month. All right, and our next one, Office of Parent Engagement. And I want to start off, Vice President LeBron, by answering your question. I know you mentioned earlier that we were hiring a community liaison specialist before the director. So what actually happened was that before our last director, who I appreciate, before she left, that position was posted and interviews happened. But I wanted to do a third round of interviews. And so that was actually before the last director left. And so now we're getting around to hiring another community liaison specialist. And then when it comes to the director position, I know it has been a time since we've had a director, and I've been standing in the gap and also working with that awesome team down there working to learn about that department. Because as the executive director, I want to understand each and every one of my departments. And with Office of Parent Engagement, we've had a lot of change over the last couple of years, a lot of different directors. And I didn't want to just go just for the sake of doing it right away, putting another director in there. What I started doing with the team was having what I call monthly retreats, where we have a different retreat at a different location, and we actually talk about the department, what's going on there. I'll also meet one-to-one meetings each week with everybody in my department, but especially with OPE, I call it fact-finding meetings, where I've been talking with them just to hear what they have to say about the department, but also about the different things that have happened. We have a lot of people that have been down there for a long time, and we don't tap into them enough as resources. Also, I've been meeting with the parents, going to the different parent meetings, district parent group meetings. I still have a couple more to go to, and I've been in different community meetings, hearing what they have to say. And the main thing that I've been hearing people say and talk about are the systems, the practices, and wanting to know what's going on down there. So I do know that as we go into these interviews for the director, it's going to have to be someone that is not afraid of social media, actually speaking out about what the department is doing. So those are just some of the things that we've been working on. So that is why it's been taking a while, but I can assure you that within the next 2 weeks, we will get it together with a director for that department. All right, so what we've been working on in the meantime with the department is Parent University. We know that it's a very powerful tool, so we've been getting input and collaborating with parents to launch a new Parent University. Been meeting with district parent groups. I met with the Parent Leadership Advisory Council. The next week I'll be meeting with BEC, which is our Bilingual Education Council, then our Multilingual Parent Advisory Council, and our CPAC, our Special Education Advisory Council, because we want to find out what are some of the courses that parents want to learn about. In particular, when we have met with parents at our Community Action Initiative meetings, a lot of the parents told us that they want to learn about code of conduct, they want to learn about equity, they want to learn about restorative practices. So we're trying to meet with our different parents to learn. They even want to learn different languages, okay? So we want to find out from the parents, from the people we serve, what do they want? And then also tapping into our parent liaisons, homeschool assistants, and our OPE staff. They work closely with parents and they understand their needs. And a lot of times we don't go to them. We may go to them last or as an afterthought. And we're going to work with this group. They're also going to be part of teaching courses to parents. And then our network assignments. What we're doing right now is aligning our OPE staff with each school network. We know soon we're going to have 4 networks. So I put in a proposal and it's been approved to have 4 parent representatives. And we want to make sure we have 2 bilingual parent representatives. Currently we have 1, and then we want to have 4 community liaison specialists, and there will also be 2 bilingual. So each network will have a parent representative and a community liaison specialist. What they will do is work closely with the parent liaisons and homeschool assistants, offering professional learning, and just working to meet the needs of our students and their families. All right, on to youth development. And the director there is Tony Jordan. Tony is working with the Student Leadership Congress. They're going to be hosting, and we're really excited. On March 26th, they're going to have a Student Leadership Conference, and we cannot wait for that, and the students are excited. And so they're going to be focusing on student input, on technology and food services, and really getting a feel for what the kids want. Then Operation Fire. We all know about Operation Fire. Fathers initiating restorative engagement. But what they're doing with this, they're getting more fathers that are interested. So Tony and his team, and Ricky Frazier works along with him as well, and we have partners, George Warren from the city of Rochester. They're working on how to get your fire started. A toolkit that's going to be used for any school that wants to have Operation Fire. You know, for example, getting men interested in being part of this. Doesn't just have to be fathers, it could be men of the community, but they will be working with schools to train them on this. And then we also know about My Brother's Keeper, which provides several opportunities to our students. So he is still working on that, and also meeting with other schools to see what types of things My Brother's Keeper can do with the different schools. All right, then we have community schools. In our community schools department, What we've been doing there is having roundtable network discussions. Now, the beauty of this and the awesome thing about this is that through our partnership with the New York State Community Schools Technical Assistance Center, they have allowed us to connect with other community schools across New York State. And not just urban. I know a lot of times we like to connect with schools that are just like Rochester, but they're just like Rochester because we all serve students, whether they're in the urban, rural, or suburban area. So we've been able to connect with different people in those different districts. So what happens is during the monthly site coordinator network meetings, which Lizelle Taylor, who's a director, hosts, they actually come to the meetings and they meet and they have different topics that they talk about and they exchange ideas. They're also working on providing some joint professional learnings over the summer. Then establishing food pantries for all community schools. This has been a big thing for Lizelle. She's been going to all the schools, visiting them, making sure that they all have everything they need for their food pantries. And then our greatest thing that we've really been working on is expanding community schools to see how we can do that. A lot of schools are interested in becoming community schools. So what we want to do is organize learning over the summer and really talk to schools about some of the basic community school practices like the community school pillars, community engagement teams, needs assessment, asset mapping, and partnering and evaluating partnerships. So we know we have our receivership schools who became community schools because of being in receivership, but we're also looking at our CSI schools and our TSI schools to pull them into that, especially our CSI schools. We want to be proactive. We want to prevent anyone from going into receivership, and also the ones in receivership, work with them to get out of receivership. And then our last area, our volunteer coordination services. Ricky Frazier, who is the coordinator, he's been working on getting virtual volunteers. We know there are a lot of people during the pandemic who are still afraid to go in buildings, and some of them can't go in buildings. So he's been working with the IT department to develop a process where college students and other people who are able to volunteer virtually will be able to work with students in a virtual atmosphere. Our Just Law program. The Just Law program has been a program that has been in our district for a while. And this involves the city of Rochester and mayors and judges from the 7th Judicial District. And they're working and visiting schools right now, talking to students about law and other topics. And they will be visiting 17 schools. And they also students have an opportunity to participate in an essay contest. And then the volunteer onboarding process. Ricky has a system set in place for anyone that wants to volunteer. He's now put in weekly trainings. They're offered every Wednesday. I know a lot of times he will do different trainings for others, but we wanted to make sure that there was some set time so people will start getting used to that schedule. So he offers it every Wednesday, 8:30 to 9:30, and 5:30 to 6:30. And so those are just some of the things. I don't want to bore you with everything that we're working on, but these are some of the things that we're working on in the Strategic and Community Partnerships Department.
Thank you so very much. This is, what you presented is great. I don't even know if it does you full justice, because one thing that I've observed, you show up here and there, and I see you, and I see you involved. And not just from a presentation level, but literally with your sleeves rolled up, doing the work as well. And that's not always something you do see. I do want to commend you on yesterday. Were you out there the entire day yesterday?
Yeah, me and my team.
So I got a snapshot of, I want to call you Dr. Briggs, but I got a snapshot of this tractor trailer that was filled with Lysol wipes, and just making sure the community got it in their hands. Churches I saw a lot of people that I knew from different organizations and churches and families and things that we need. And I know we are feeling like we're on the other side of COVID, but people are still in need of these items and still want to make sure that they're safe. And to see you rolled up holding these wipes and grabbing these boxes, and it was just, it says a lot about who you are. So I wanted to commend you on that and all the work that I've seen you doing besides that. and I did have a question or two. The first one, you mentioned something, I think it was the Office of Parent Engagement, the Parent University piece, and I was wondering if you had any numbers, like the average amount of parents that access Parent University and plans for growth around that area. Anything?
No, I don't have that information because we haven't done it in a couple of years.
Okay.
But once we do, we definitely will be collecting that data, and I'll make sure that you all get it.
Okay.
Yes.
And so there's a plan to rebirth that?
Yes.
Okay. Yep, so I'll submit some questions to the dais as those form, or excuse me, the board, what is this? Board log, question log, as we get it. And then the other question I had was around community schools, which I'm a huge lover of community schools. I just think they're very beneficial. I think they create equity and the resources, what you see. And I paid a recent visit to the YMCA on Lewis Street, which is rebirthed and really is like this one-stop shop that is being recreated for the community in that particular area. And so I'm just wondering, I know you want to identify schools that might be able to use it. Is there a fidelity model or implementation plan if schools determine that, hey, we want to tag onto this model? What would that look like?
Yes, we're actually working on that. The first step to it, I can be honest, when it comes to that, is making sure that we're able to talk to them about what are community schools and what it isn't. A lot of people confuse it with neighborhood schools, so we want to be able to sit down and offer that professional learning where you have to sit down and we talk to you about it and we have a dialogue. But also part of that is bringing in those partners to talk to you. We have a lot of partners that have experience and, like I said earlier, and expertise. So part of that professional learning is bringing in partners and community members, because we all, when it comes to community schools, it touches on everybody. So that's the first thing that we want to do when it comes to that. If you want to become a community school, here's what it is and here's what it isn't. And then also, even schools that are not community schools, teach them about having a community engagement team. That team can really help you leverage those partnerships, and they'll help you with designing a needs assessment with so many things for your school. Our schools that do have the community engagement teams, and it is majority of community schools, but again, we want to use those practices to help all schools.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that information. I want to open up more for, I see Commissioner LeBron's hand.
So thank you, Kelly Briggs. Also a big fan, because like Commissioner Simmons mentioned, you do definitely get down in the dirt, as they say, with the folks, and we appreciate you and all that you do. And I know that you came, before you had this role, you came a few months back and presented on community schools, and now you're in a different role, which I appreciate because you have greater pulse, if you will, on bigger pieces systemically in the district. So I do appreciate your leadership and insight and the direction you're taking some of these departments. So a couple of points. Credit counseling that you mentioned, I just want to point out, because I was a customer of M&T for 15 years and then joined ESL for 10 and had some overlap. And I would just love us to also educate our families around traditional banking versus consumer credit union banking. There is a big difference, and also a big financial impact if you're trying to grow credit. The other partner I want to mention, if you have not connected with, is CC Consumer Credit Counseling Services, CCCS, on University Avenue. And they do free credit counseling now for families. And so if you're trying to increase your credit score, don't know how to build your credit score, they are an excellent resource in our community. They also help with like student loan counseling, and a lot of people don't know that. So just wanted to throw them out there so that you can reach out to them and connect. They also do have credit building like courses and workshops for youth too, as they're in like 14 years old getting their first summer of opportunity jobs. Because a while ago we discussed like that's when we need to start educating kids also from their very first paycheck how to build their credit so that when they graduate high school they have a higher credit score. Nobody ever taught me that. I don't think anybody ever sat down and taught my mother that. And it is a challenge for us when we don't have that background in history or anybody in our family to walk us through those things. So just throwing that out there. I want to commend George Warren for becoming the new coordinator George has been around for a long time, but his area of expertise really is working with youth. And so I am very excited to see him in that role and to see what will come of that, because I've had my own issues with that particular initiative, but I'm glad to see that George is in there. Just the last piece is the director position for the Office of Parent Engagement. You know, I know you are trying to be more methodical and thoughtful about the right person fitting. My only concern is the civil service piece, because it is a civil service position. So we could be as methodical as we want, but if there's a list, we got to hire off that list. And we've gone down this road, and actually, I won't go into the full details of the previous person and where they landed on a list and so forth, but, you know, I just want us to be mindful of that, because by law, we are obligated to hire off of the list. And so if that person that you hire goes and takes the test and they don't score in the top, we are, as a district, we are forced to then hire from those top three, unless those top three decline, if you will. But then we're required to go down the list. So just something to be mindful for. Again, like I said, you know, previously, your position didn't even exist. So there couldn't have been that influence that if this person leaves and doesn't pass the exam, we still have an executive director kind of overseeing the direction of the office. So that makes me feel a little bit better that at least we have that safety net, if you will, but just being mindful of that piece. So yeah, your department is one of the areas that does work and is working in the district, and I want to highlight that. And then the last piece on community schools, because I would be naive not to mention that there are a number of, the unions actually, and NYSED themselves, NYSED, not NYSED, so NSUT, the New York State, NYSED, not NYSED, which is the New York United Teachers. They are currently advocating for community school funding at the state level and pushing our New York State legislators to make a commitment. And that is an initiative I am joining them in supporting. I absolutely, like Commissioner Simmons said, support community schools. And I will tell you that the Rochester community and the Rochester City School District, in my opinion, in order to see success the way that we want to see success, that the only model that will work in this community is neighborhood community schools. And so I know that people do get it confused, and so do state legislators, but there has to be a commitment for both, and we have to commit to our neighborhoods. We have to commit to ensuring that neighborhoods have the resources that they need. And the only way we're going to do that is if we create community schools. But then guess what, Kelly? Let me just say this. We, as a district, systemically have to be better partners to our community partners. Yes. So while I appreciate all the work that you're doing, this is where I look to the superintendent to say, how do we change the trajectory of how we partner with people? Because I love what you and Ricky and Tony are doing. You're out here grabbing folks and you're building relationships, and trust me, you know I'm at a lot of tables and spaces. Your names are highly respected, and people know, like, if I need to get something done or push through or have questions about how to partner, I'm going to call Kelly, I'm going to call Tony, I'm going to call Ricky. But that has to be expanded beyond 3 individuals, and I appreciate all that you do into this district. So, and I don't ever want you to change, and I don't want you to burn out either, Kelly. I don't want you to burn out. We want you to practice self-care and love. But systemically, how do we change that? So I know that myself as the commissioner, my vision for this district is neighborhood community schools. That's why we're pushing, and President Elliott also has pushed for this too, for the 1.5 reimbursement to go down, so that if we do go into a neighborhood community school model, we are then providing transportation for less than 1.5 miles for our families, because we like to think that kids can go out and walk, but if the city doesn't plow streets, kids can't walk in the streets. So I just want to put that out there, because this is a layered issue. It's a heavy issue, but it's one that I'm committed to seeing in the next few years. Thank you.
Yes, Superintendent Myers-Small, or President Elliott, I'm sorry, thank you.
Yeah, I see your partnership inventory And on the title, it said sample. I don't see any in the core neighborhoods. I don't see partnerships with Baden Street Settlement. I don't see partnerships with Community Place. I don't see partnerships with those grassroots organizations. Now, I saw that this is a sample, but I just don't see that. It is those organizations that really have the kind of significant relationship with the population of the students that we serve. And I see none of that on here, in all honesty. And so I'm going to ask to see a complete listing of your partnerships, because this list is kind of lacking to me in the sense of the organizations that really can have an impact on our students, because they understand that the work is difficult, but they do it anyway. And so, you know, I'm going to, if you have a complete list, I'm going to ask that you provide that. All right. Thank you.
Can I respond?
Please.
Okay. This actually, and I will make sure you have some more, this is an actual school. We just took their name off it because we didn't want to share it. And what majority of our schools, in this particular school, does partner with the Flint Street Rec Center. The Gandhi Institute is located right near the school, and they are in partnership with that. And that's why that asset mapping, what we're using to help people to identify the resources in their community, will be helpful. But this school actually does use and work with different organizations that are in their neighborhood. And like where you see Alpha Phi Alpha, the school was actually named after a very influential Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity brother.
But let me just put this on the table too. Understand that there's a diversity within the African American community, right? And so what tends to happen sometimes is those who have moved up, if you will, there can be somewhat of a disconnect. So what I'm saying is, make sure that the people who we've got supporting our children understand the intricacies and the dynamics in our community, because sometimes that can get lost when people move out of the community. I'll just put it that way. It gets lost because they have sometimes there's a different mindset if they have not and continue to connect with the grassroots community. So I guess I would ask, if somebody, this is a public document, and that somebody is seeing this, somehow that needs to be, because this is the visual, it doesn't say that it's a sample. So somehow just to frame it, that it is a sample, and that there are other organizations that are involved as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
And you said that particular document is indicative of, that's a sample from a school community, not the overall.
Right.
Okay.
And then we will have them for all of the schools right now, the community schools, but all the schools will have them. But I will make sure that we look at that, President Elliott.
President Elliott, did you say you want to make sure some of the credible messengers can wear butters, right?
Say that again.
They can wear butters, meaning they can go into the community and wear a pair of Timbs, and they can actually connect with our students. And so I'm making light of that.
You got
but
to
that
have
is
some hood cred.
that is very,
Have some hood cred.
Very
if you don't have any hood cred, you're done.
So you want to make sure
We
that
do.
you can.
You know, I
connect
just-
someone at
I
an
just wanna
executive
respond
level
because-
as well as
you
someone who can relate.
Interact in both worlds.
Yeah, and I just want to, and I thank you so much for that, because there's always ways for us to improve. We know that it's continuous improvement at all times, and so I appreciate that. But we do have multiple partnerships, and I can't wait for you all to see the completed partnerships, so you'll see that, you know, we have a little bit of everything in there.
That's important.
Yes.
I know you got that. I do see Superintendent Myers-Small.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Simmons. Two things. As we're having discussions about this work, this directly connects to not only one of the Board of Education's goals, but mine as well. So this work that she's doing will streamline into, once we have all of the community partnerships, community and strategic partnerships, then we can take the inventory and evaluate to make sure that they have value added for the district. So I just wanted to connect it back to work. And the second comment that I'd like to make is, if you just scroll through Kelly's presentation and you see Operation Fire, if you look at My Brother's Keeper, you see food pantries, you see the Just Law program, and this doesn't even include everything that's in her department. She didn't even mention, again, the photo voice. These are partnerships
that result in programs that are giving positive press to the Rochester City School District, that are being noticed, that are being picked up by the media. So when we talk about the negative narrative, a lot of things that come out of Kelly's shop help to contribute to the positive narrative and the positive branding of our district. And as Dr. Black talks about her teaching and learning department, this is the department that has the touch points with the students, the direct services. So even though I know it's probably very obvious, it's important just to acknowledge that publicly, that the work that either Kelly's direct reports, and she works with all of her direct reports directly, as we've noted, or the work that she's even leading, really is helping to portray our district in a very positive light, but also in a very meaningful and genuine light. So I just wanted to note that, Kelly. Thank you.
Thanks.
Madam Chair?
Yes, President.
So also, I want to make sure that as we are engaging with these partners, that we're listening to them. I think I mentioned this at the first community engagement, that we really are listening to these partners and where we can, where they can be of value to us. I want us to respect that, or they'll leave us. You know, I mean, we've got a lot of work to do of enhancing our reputation and our credibility. And so I'm going to ask that we begin to do that with these partnerships that we have established, that what they're able to provide us with, that we're able to receive it, operationalize it, and that we're able to, you know, just make sure that that they're helping us, and they're helping us in a positive way, but that we receive that. And we have in our history suggests that we don't know how to do that well. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, President Elliott. Commissioner Malloy?
Thank you. Kelly, I just want to say you are a pillar of our community, and I thank you for that. I've watched your boots on the ground approach now, and whether you're distributing Lysol wipes or collecting coats for our students or doing photo projects with our students, you really are everywhere. And I just commend you for that. Thank you for that. And your involvement and care, and it's genuine, just as Dr. Myers-Small said. So I appreciate that, and keep up the great work. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Malloy. Commissioner Adams?
Yeah, you had spoke about financial literacy. That's always been an issue with parents when I've talked to people in the community. And it's not really been around credit scores or getting a bank account. It's been about people just being victims of the predators that are in the community, Rent-A-Center, buying groceries at those corner stores. This is where we really need education at. We have to start there, man, because they're killing us. They're killing us. So I just, besides the credit scores and the bank level of financial literacy, I would like us to be right there on the ground where people are just putting themselves in debt. So that's all, I'm clear.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much again, Dr. Kelly Briggs, for coming up and speaking with us and sharing so much about what's taking place among the strategic and community partnerships here with the Rochester City School District. And I also recognize that we as a board can lean in intentionally to support the collective partnerships that we want to see happen and how we can make those visionings for the district come to fruition. Thank you so much for your time this evening.
Thank you.
Kelly, I think they're speaking into existence, Dr. Briggs. I've heard that a couple times, just saying.
Yeah, I want to start it next year.
Dr. Briggs.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And so moving forward with the agenda, we have I may need help with this, but we have a resolution 477 on the table, which is actually going to move us into executive session. So I would like to motion for us to go into executive session. Do I need to read the terminology now, or how do I? Okay. Okay, so this part of the agenda, this is going to recess into executive session which is closed to the public, to discuss matters leading to the appointment of specific individual, to discuss matters of concern with the general counsel, and/or consider student disciplinary matters at this time. Once we exit executive session, we will return to the dais to vote on Resolution 477, and then we'll exit the meeting at that time. So we will return, we're going to exit and recess into executive session at this time.
Motion.
Actually, I need to motion for that. Thank you.
Motion.
Vice President.
Seconded.
Thank you. All those in favor of moving into executive session?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposing? We are now entering executive session. Thank you.
that's what we're talking.
Good evening, listening audience, viewing audience. Thank you for your patience. We are coming from executive session at this time, and we are going to motion or work through Resolution 477. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to for Resolution 477.
Motion.
Second.
Thank you, President LeBron for the motion, second by Commissioner Adams. We have already finished our discussion. Those in favor of Resolution 477, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposing? Resolution 477 passes at this time. We thank you again for your patience, viewing audience. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting this evening.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, any points of discussion?
Yeah, we're going back into executive session. Yes.
Well, yes, actually, yes, it is.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
It's accepted.
So at this time, we're going into a closed session, and we are going to end the student equity and student achievement meeting for this evening. Thank you again. Have a good night.